Hey guys, I'm here to do a quick drum mix, as stated in the video, with the new Aggressive Rock drum kit by GGD, one of the one-kit wonders as they call it. And it's a pre-mixed drum kit. What you see is what you get in terms of kit pieces. There's no exchanging cymbals and snares, etc. And with that said, it is a great sounding kit, especially when you have the option to multi-out it as well. And the parallel and master EQ sound great. I actually keep those engaged in the mix. But I went ahead and bounced what the default kit does sound like. And then I also routed out a master EQ and parallel engaged sound. And then I'll play my mix last, just so we can hear what this thing can sound like. Then here is the two buttons engaged in the contact. So a big difference there, a lot more energy when you have the buttons engaged for sure. And then I'll go ahead and play the mix I have. It's not a night and day difference by any means between what I have and what comes up when you just engage the buttons and do a stereo routing. It sounds great. Also, really quick, if you guys would like this MIDI roll and these stems that I'm playing here for this song, you can go to my Bandcamp page, and I'll link that in the description below. And you guys can mix along with me or practice mixing yourself. It's a good MIDI roll to work with for just tweaking your drum mix and dialing it in, whatever drum library you're using, so it could be helpful. Let's talk about the routing real quick. The parallel compression is a dedicated stereo 1 output, so it'll always come out contact stereo 1. So what I did when I multi-outed is just cascaded from stereo 2 onward with the kick, snare, toms, etc. So kick is output 2, snare is output 3, the toms are both on 4, all the way up to what we have here, so 7 total outputs. So it's pretty simple. And what I did was very simple too. I kept it EQ and compression with a couple exceptions, maybe one or two, just so I don't have to get all fancy with it and still get a sound that I really like. So that's really cool. Let's solo each element. So this whole slopey guy here is just a way to address this low mid or upper bass, whatever you want to call it, build up that I felt when I just stuck to the stereo default. It could use a little taming. I know it looks like quite a mess, but it's kind of something you listen to when you're hearing everything together and you make adjustments one at a time, and eventually I just wound up with this guy. But it's quite a drastic difference. I feel like it just tames the kick sound in a way, and it kind of rests in the mix in a more natural blending kind of way, especially with this top end adjustment too. It's sort of shifting the presence in a different place. And then with the snare, I have some EQ as well. Let me go ahead and take off everything. So here's without anything plus EQ. And then here's with the EQ. Not a huge difference, but it does make it a little more focused, less boxy. A lot more air to it as well. Note that I did find there is a ring, but for this style I thought it'd be fine to just not even do anything about it. I like a little sustain when there's a lot of space between the snare drums, you know. So the next stage is the old smash and grab compressor. Just in snare mode, it's pretty simple. Got some saturation in there as well. Just take off the auto gain is really the only thing that isn't default. It tames it yet accentuates the punch. It's kind of cool. And play around with that saturation because it does have a cool effect on the general sustain, and you really hear it in the snare wires. And then the last thing, it's really just what I felt like doing in the moment. It just sounded a little cooler with extra sustain on there. It's more of something that I hear when everything is playing. Toms, you could argue, don't need any EQ at all, especially with the master EQ on. But I just wanted to do a little bit of mid-shaping there and get rid of this little tinny attack. I don't know what the adjective is. But yeah, toms are sounding pretty awesome. Let's go to overheads. I'll find a different section. We can find the chorus. There's some crashes and stuff. And I didn't even realize I did basically nothing to it. A lot of the time the cymbals can just build up in this area, I noticed, so about 6 to 7K, so really light EQ to suppress that, smooth it out. Then the mono, I did nothing, just note the fader balances too, by the way. I did drop it down quite a bit. So room, another instance of smash and grab. The room does sound really awesome without this, but I just wanted a little bit more of that excitement in there for sure. This thing is always a go-to for that. So room mode, smash mode, and basically insta-good sound once you have those modes activated. And then some EQ to just shape it in the mix. And that's all there is to it. There's some automation in the verses. That's like my main automation there. Then on the drum kit itself, it's kind of a compression substitute. It's called the MV2. It's not a huge roll. But you do hear the under information, like the cymbals and sustain of cymbals and drums rise up a bit. And again, you can do this with compression just as easily. I just like that this plugin is so simple, really. And then with EQ, this was definitely just gut moves while I'm mixing on the fly. This must be due to some snare room parallel compression buildup. So subtle stuff. And then putting an L1 on the end just levels out the transients before I go into my mix bus. You'll notice as I'm clicking, the amount that it's reducing each snare hit changes. So that's implying it's sending a slightly inconsistent level of snare to my mix bus. And then last is the parallel compression. I have smash and grab on that in parallel mode. Oh, sorry about that. It has like this shift in character to it a bit, sort of decreases the dynamic range. I noticed that even though it is a very small dynamic range, since it is parallel compression, it just could have used more. And then EQ. I just added a little bit of volume to that after the fact, just because of the context, and I'll play the whole drum kit. And let's play the whole band. And just for fun, I'll take away the parallel compression and the room. And that's it with the quick drum mix. And one quick note I'll add, you'll notice these are not being sent to a submix. I just wanted these to be slightly leveled with the mix for comparison's sake, and I didn't want it to be colored by the mix bus that my song's going through either, just so you can get an honest depiction of what this kit sounds like. Hope this is helpful, and I really encourage you to check this kit out. It's really cool. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you next time.